Hey everybody, it's Max of Max's Models, and I'm having a chat with Ken. And we've been having issues lately. My last video got pulled down because of some Godzilla footage. YouTube AI is really getting effective at both image recognition, I think, and I don't know, maybe some of the footage is meta tagged, and obviously with audio recognition, it's pulling down everything. And Ken and I were just discussing the future of YouTube as it affects this channel, probably all channels. So Ken, you were saying you think the AI is taking over and they're buying server space by the container shipload.
Yeah, I'm sure they're growing. With all the video coming in, they got to be buying disk drives by the truckload in order to be able to keep track of, and store all that. So I guess they get to the point where after a while, okay, we're not going to store free stuff as much as we used to, or we're going to make sure that it's more difficult to store free stuff.
Well, I monetize the channel, which I guess they get a chunk of, but I brought a lot of attention on myself when I did. I've been getting a lot more videos popped since I monetized. And right now my monetization says I can expect to make $19.22 this month.
Woohoo! Don't spend that all in one place.
And I'm having a lot of problems with YouTube. I've got the one strike, and I got a strike years ago, which should have fallen off radar by now. But they're got every once in a while I'm getting, this video cannot be monetized from a video that's 4 years old. And I'm looking at some of my old work out there and go out and review it from time to time, and I'm like, good God, I've got so much crap back there. At some point, they're going to start giving me other strikes on old videos, I would imagine. And when they do, I normally just take them down because they're several years old anyway. But it's not just the German insignia and stuff. They're popping for songs. I mean, music, and I don't mean that hate speech strike I got for a German tank. The two pieces of music he used were the folk song Erica and the Panzerlied. And like, there's no way those qualify as hate speech, okay? Yeah, and the tank didn't have any of the crooked German crosses on it. All it had was a couple of Balkan crosses and some camouflage. So, and when I tried to appeal it, they just, I don't know if the AI rejected it or a human watched it. And I had one glue trooper who was a content monitor at one point said, you would not believe the crap they stop and the crap they'll let through. It is, I don't like to get political on this channel, but let's just say it's they're sensibility driven, and you and I both know people's worldview leaks into that very heavily. I'm really starting to worry about the future of the channel on YouTube. I'm starting to upload stuff on Rumble because I put the original thing that got taken down on Rumble. Man, nobody. It's up there right now. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Rumble doesn't seem to care. Ken, you and I talked about how you and I kind of came up in the wild west of the internet, where everything went. And YouTube got, what do they call it, critical mass. And,
yeah, well, there was no AI out there watching you, and there was no monitoring. It was just, put videos up, come see us on, come see YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
Trying to attract people to the channel. Now they don't care.
Yeah, well, like you were saying, they're too big to fail. And I was noticing that, because let's face it, without YouTube, we wouldn't be doing this. So, we got to be careful about complaining about them because they put up billions of dollars worth of servers, and without it, we wouldn't have this. But
guarantee you, they make a whole lot more money than they're spending.
Hey, hang on, it's Bruce Bistic, model of ships. I'm going to bring him in on the conversation. He just happens to be calling in.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to merge. Hang on. That's fortuitous. Hey, Bruce.
Hello?
Hey.
Yeah.
It's Max. Hey, Ken's on the line with us, and we're recording for the morning video, so welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, this is a surprise you didn't expect. We were just griping about YouTube and how it pulled down another one of my videos. But
Did they really?
Well, it's one of
my... I was looking at some other people. Some other guys have also having that problem.
Well, it's funny because I'm getting a lot of emails from other people who have posted YouTube videos, and they're not even, some of them aren't even YouTubers. They're just, but I'm getting a lot of guys, including people who watch this channel, that are getting stuff pulled down. I think the AI is getting a little too efficient and a little, well, I don't know if I'd use the word random, but...
Well, I'm kind of like going to say Big Brother's watching.
Big time.
in the freedom of speech.
Well, now, the reason I don't accept the First Amendment argument is they're private sector. You know, where the government's concerned, the Constitution's protections against the government, but a private business can do what they want. And, you know, within reason, like, you know, not a Title IX violation or something.
Well, that's true, because you can go into a restaurant and the guy can say, I don't want to serve you.
I don't like the color of your mustache, you know, or, you know, out of here, you long-haired hippie freak. And
you know, you brought Ken with you, I'm not going to serve you.
Yeah, that's right. That happens all the time. I take Ken into restaurants. They say, not till he's house trained.
Well, that's good. That's good. Ken, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How about you?
I'm hanging in there. I got to go for a little procedure tomorrow, echo for my heart. I go once a year for that, because I do have a pacemaker.
Oh my gosh,
wow, okay.
Bruce, that's a wonderful name for a love song, Echo of My Heart.
There you go.
Man, you should. One of you guys should write that. I'm not a musician.
Well, you know, I really missed my calling. My second calling would have been doing commercials, writing commercials.
You see, the thing I can do.
I can come up with some of the best commercials for this product. Just hand me a product and I can come up with something.
Hey, how about Max?
My secret talent is the ability to write lyrics. Most of those songs that Dreamberry did for me, a lot of times I send him the lyrics. Sometimes he did it himself, though. I want to make sure he gets credit for that. But I can write lyrics, and I enjoy it. But I almost want to call in Steve, but the four of us would be talking on top of each other. By the way, guys, FYI, this was not intended. Ken and I were just yakking on the phone, and I figured, hey, you know what? This will make a good morning video, something different. And so what are you working on, Bruce?
I'm working on this chip, 1/100 scale from this Russian company, ZVEZDA. I don't know how to
Another easy Russian name.
And the instructions suck. Let's put it right out front.
Well, Russians never make anything
translated
easy.
very well.
Well, no, and they don't show you where parts go, but they tell you. You know, it's translated in English, but I built one before and it came out really, really nice. But this one, I don't know.
Is old Russian axiom. Instructions are for sissies.
So I've been taking my time. This is my first build since I put the screen in the garage, the retractable screen.
Yeah, I saw that. Nice picture. It looks good.
Guys,
if you want to see that
really
screen,
well.
go out to Bruce's channel, Mystic Modeler Ships. He's got it up there. By the way, I'm sitting here. I'm holding in my hand that 1933 Willys Coupe by AMT Ertl to give to you next time we get together.
All right. Well, next time we'll meet up in Daytona. I have to go to Daytona in May on the 14th.
Well, maybe I'll just go down and have lunch with you if I'm free. Ken and I were talking about this earlier. I've never been busier than when I retired. People used to say that to me all the time, and I'm finding it to be true. Now that I'm quote unquote, people are like, how do you like retirement? I'll let you know if I ever have nothing, if I'm ever actually retired. Seems like I've got something to do. Of course, the models have a lot to do with that, so I guess a lot of it's self-imposed. But
well, it's funny because I told Bonnie yesterday, I'm not really into this shit. She goes, what? I go, I haven't bought into it yet. You know what I mean? You got to buy into what you're building.
You know what? It's funny. You're right, because I've gotten some models that you what's next to maybe you're building it for something in particular, but you're just kind of like, you just want to get through it. I much prefer models that I'm doing because, like you say, you're into it. This Wright Flyer, I've always wanted a Wright Flyer to display in the house because as a pilot, I think you should have one, right? And everything on this one has gone together fairly well until yesterday. I misrigged the thing and I had to tear down half the rigging and redo it. And then it got frustrating. So that's why, in fact, when we're done here, I'm going to go out to the shed and start out to the TARDIS and start working. But I had to stop then, or I was going to get frustrated.
Yeah, I saw your video on that, and I'm going, you know what? You're absolutely right. And I say this to Bonnie. I says, can you see the mistake I made here? She goes, no. I says, but I know.
But I know it.
So I got to fix it.
I have
I
become
gotta,
one of
you know,
those.
that's an obsession. That's called an obsession.
Like, okay, time to go in, have a water glass full of whiskey, and watch some John Wick or something.
Time to get a shot of Jack or something. You know what I mean? They're just lighten up. You know?
I was, I was like, I went inside. My wife and I watched a movie with Tom Hardy called a new release called Havoc, and I was like,
Yeah.
apparently this movie is just an attempt to out John Wick. John Wick. I'm like, wow, Hollywood invented the 600 round magazine. No need to reload.
I've never seen John Wick reload, only very few times.
No, John Wick does
funny
no.
You said that. You guys have, if you got Prime Video, we just started watching with Kevin Bacon, The Bondsman.
Yes,
Oh
we watched that. That was actually pretty good. That was better than I expected.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that yesterday, and I'm going, the first episode, I'm going, holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, well, it's funny. It's kind of like Wanted Dead or Alive meets Supernatural.
or the Walking Dead is, I feel like they're all incorporated in there.
Yeah, but
Pretty wild stuff. Let's get back to models.
Back to models.
Ken, what are you building?
Ken builds
Actually,
computers.
I build models.
Well, you build RCs and stuff like that, but Ken doesn't really do much in the way of styrene models.
But...
Well, you know what? No, not really. We've covered RCs before, but I tell you what, though, like with the Beaumark that I have on display, when Ken sits down and does a model, he's very meticulous and does a very good job. And you still got those Guilos kits you need to work on at Musketeer and some others.
Well, I gotta get together with Ken somehow and learn.
You guys only
how to
live
fly
about
RC.
3 hours apart, meet halfway or something.
Yeah, yeah. I need to do that, Ken. So,
Sure.
if you could I don't want to do it over the channel. If you can give Max your phone number and
Okay, I'll send it to you. Yeah, I'll send the stuff to you. Contact info. No
Yeah,
worries.
that'd be fine.
I would appreciate that because I really enjoyed talking with you and of course there's always Big Max.
Well, we retirees, we know stuff and we build things. And
Well, I'm into missiles now.
oh God, you want to finish my monogram missile set that's been sitting ignored for 5 years? I brought that over to the shed. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed by that. That is like my longest term. I have 2 of the monogram missile sets, but one I don't want to. Well, actually, it was been started, so I guess I don't care. But one of them somebody gave me, and I got started. It takes 10 minutes to put the missiles together. There's 3 pieces, the most complex one. But then
it
it's
takes 10 hours to paint it.
Exactly. And I'm sitting there, and they all fit in the tray. You flip the stand upside down, and they all drop in like a tray. And I'm like, I need to get to that. And I always see it every time I go, yeah, someday I need to get to that. And I'm like, oh my God, it's the proverbial backbench model. I'm actually getting quite the collection of models that I've started that I can't go any further until I paint them. And some of them, like the P40, are real simple.
You keep getting models from people all over the world.
God bless them.
That's awesome. It's awesome, but you're going to have one hell of an estate sale.
Well, it's like Steve said, though. He's concerned that when when he gets his reward, that when he goes to his reward, the kid's like, Dad, we're throwing all that crap in the trash. And he's like, you have any idea what this stuff is worth? But models.
Steve's son has told him, said, hey, when you die, this is all going on YouTube.
Yeah, or eBay. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, what else are you going to do with it? And the thing is that, Max, what do you live for? And I'm kind of like, to see all these models built. I figured I have to live to about 99. And there's some of them I don't really want to build because like the Halcyon, I have one of the Halcyon kits from Aliens of the attack transport. Not the armored vehicle, I built that one, but the actual drop ship. And I'm like, if I build that thing, I'll never be able to replace it. And you wind up, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, about 15 kits here that are on the no build list because I'm just worried that, they're not making any more of them. And then there's some of them
how many kits do you have that you've started and still are working on?
I would say a dozen.
See, I can't do that.
I know, and I shouldn't be doing that.
Ken, this guy is he's a junkie. You know what I mean?
I am not. I can quit anytime I want. I just don't want to. But
he can't. I can't do that. I start a model. Here's what I was taught: start something, finish it.
what were you, raised by wolves?
No, I was raised by an old Scotchman, and he goes, "You got to finish this." And
Wait a minute, Bruce. An old Scotchman or an old Scotsman? Because both things exist. A Scotsman, because an old Scotchman, I'm like, hey, I've got some old Scotch in here. We can talk.
Same thing.
Well, I am starting to put videos up on Rumble as backup, and what it looks like I'm going to have to do, because I don't have enough to keep me busy, is make the video the way I want to. Because you have to remember, I'm not doing this for the $19 a month. I'm doing this because I like doing it. And apparently the Glue Troopers are getting a kick out of it. And, I'm one of those guys, give me an audience and I'll keep performing.
What, you're getting paid $19 a month?
Well, that's what YouTube threatens to put into my YouTube account at my current projection. 35,000 views. Let's see, I put out about 40 to 50 videos a month, and they average about 1,000 views over 3 days. So figure 35 to 50,000 views a month. And but you see, the thing is, how long they are matters. They want them to be 7 minutes long, and I'm like, I don't care what you want. I make what I make, And that's why you may have noticed a lot of your YouTubers, you'll see a lot of 7-8 minute videos, because that seems to be the target time. And I don't take ads or anything.
I try to keep mine under 10 minutes.
Yeah. And what happens is that they turn around and say, okay, based on this weird algorithm we got, you should make this. But what they do is it goes up and down like a stock market ticker, and based on views, also how long people are watching. That's a big deal. And since I don't take advertisements, I don't get pushed to the front of the list. Because, God, I find that annoying. My wife got me YouTube Premium, so I wouldn't have to put up commercials.
In my videos at random.
I know. And but what they do is, apparently at the end of the month, as this ticker goes up and down, at the end of the month, they take a snapshot, and that's what you get paid. So at one point earlier in the month, it was showing like $40, and now it's down to $19 just based on the algorithm. And I think tonight at midnight or something,
that's because they've taken shit down because they think you're talking bad shit.
Maybe. It could be. Everything affects everything. And so I think at midnight tonight they'll take a snapshot, and then they'll say, okay, this is what you're getting for the month, and it might be $40, it might be $14, it might be nothing. But then that goes into an account run by a company called AdSense. And then they don't send you any money until you hit the $100 mark. And once your account has over 100, then they'll deposit the money. And YouTube changed its rules. One of the reasons our good friend Mike Mashat quit doing what he was doing on YouTube was because the changes had definitely been detrimental to his income. And as Ken and I were discussing, YouTube has become very ossified. The AI, it's very much I don't want to say a dinosaur. That's not right, but it's too big to fail. But it's become, I think they're more oriented towards more professional YouTubers. I mean, even though I do this a lot, I don't consider myself, quote unquote, a professional. I'm an amateur who gets a kick out of what he's doing. But you've got people out there making some really slick productions and everything. And it's almost becoming the new television. YouTube is taking.
It's really funny because I'm just a hack on YouTube that has a model saying, hey, here's what I'm building.
And they don't have a problem with that normally, but some of the guys, mostly the armor guys, and the airplane guys seem to be hitting the hardest, because they're the ones that are putting on the insignia, historically accurate insignia, that's getting them in trouble. And some of them have more than one. Some of them gotten hit with hate strikes. Sometimes it's the music. And that
bothers me. That bothers me because if that's the decal that went on the airplane.
I know, perverting history, and that's been a contentious thing for a long time. I stay historically accurate.
Taking down, and I'm not pro Confederacy.
I know, but I'm waiting to get popped for somebody sent me the General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard, and I'm just waiting for him to pop that viewers build video, because that car has that Confederate battle
That's
song.
part of our history.
Did you guys?
Civil War thing's part of our history as a nation, and you're going to bury it?
Ed, did you see that 10 years ago they made a new Dukes of Hazzard movie, and the thing was, the car was just orange, and they took it to Cooter to work on it, and he put the flag on it, which I guess was the producer's way of making sure the boys didn't catch any flack for it. But they don't know what's up there. They're driving in traffic, and the reactions of all the different people, and I was kind of like,
I got a good one for you, Ken. You're gonna love this.
Yeah.
I'm driving down the street the other day in my Jeep, in this big old ass pickup truck, huge wheels. I mean, there was a flag off the back tailgate the size of the flag they have in front of the White House. The stars and bars.
leaving no. Yeah, and the thing is that I understand. Look, I understand people's sensibilities towards these things. I do. I'm not insensitive. I'm not an ogre. I mean, one of my relatives was in the camps in Nazi Germany. She's long since passed away. But my dad was Jewish. When I built German airplanes at home, he didn't have a problem with it. He understood this is the world the way it was. It was historically accurate. I think he preferred I built Mustangs and Spitfires, but it was. And he actually saw, when he was a child, he went to Germany in 1933, I think, to get the family out. Well, he was a child. He went with my grandmother and grandfather. They're helping to sponsor the family out of Germany. But he got to go to the museum where they had the Red Baron's triplane. So he actually saw the Red Baron's DR-1 triplane in a museum before the war. And we knew Dale Titler, who wrote the book, or met Dale Titler and spoke with him, who wrote the book the day the Red Baron died. And he'd actually corresponded with the Red Baron's mother before she passed, I think, in 1961. And so my family has always been interested in history, and we've never liked the idea of doing that, because what was that old saying? The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was to make people think he didn't exist. And which is when you try, like you say, when you try to bury that and hide it, you just create an opportunity for it to resurface. One of the reasons I think model building, whether we like to admit it or not, as kids we built models because they were fun and we liked the subject matter, but model building is educational. And the hard reality is I learned a lot about the good and the bad of the things that have happened in the world through reading the stories.
You're absolutely right. It's like I didn't know shit about clipper ships, about Constitution, about the USS until I read all this stuff about it, and I'm going, holy Christ, that's great.
You buy the model because it looks cool, which starts with the box. Well, first off, coin toss whether it starts with the box art or the subject matter. I think it probably starts with the subject matter and goes to box art. The box art sells the model. You take it home, you build it, you read the instructions. There's always the history on the instruction sheet on most models. And you read about it and go, oh, that's cool. And then your curiosity peaks. So then you go and get a book on the subject and you educate yourself.
Well, you said something very, very obsolete there. You go get a book on it.
At a library.
You just got to Google it.
I had to go to the library.
you had to go to the library to get a book. And they didn't have it.
The way I kind of look at it is modeling is in its own way a kind of history.
It is. No, very much. That's exactly what I'm saying. Precisely what I'm saying. Modeling is history. And the thing is that and plenty of us, and people go, well, what about when you model, monsters or something like that, or Superman or Batman? Hold on. I'm also a movie geek. And Hollywood has a very rich history, okay? And when sometimes you build these models, and it's Superman, and you go and you read the old comic book, then you go learn about the TV show that was made, and you start learning about, and it's all part of the culture, I mean, to this day, most Americans, you could, at least of our age, you go, what about Batman? The first thing you go, which one? Michael Keaton, Adam West, or Val Kilmer?
I was just thinking that because I used to come home from junior high in 1966 and watch Batman in the afternoon with Adam West.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's an example.
And the Monkees.
Oh, yeah. I would come home. The Monkees with Us came on Saturday mornings in reruns. But when I would come home, it was usually Gomer Pyle and McHale's Navy. And which, of course, made me want to go out and build a PT boat, And my brother make a comment about, that
Revell PT 109.
And all that stuff. And and you're being educated almost by accident. Bruce, you're a career teacher. You know how much fun it is to sit 30 kids down and try to get them to focus, but hand them a model and all of a sudden they're interested. And well, guys, I'm going to run get my shower. Thank you for chatting with me. Stay on the phone here. Well, folks, that's probably long enough chatter for this morning's interesting, different little blog post. I want to thank Ken and Bruce for joining in. We'll talk to you guys later. And as always,
Okay.
model
Very good.
on.